Hello and welcome. This is the first of the series of Sisterhood, Divine Sisterhood Table talks, where we are talking about what does it mean to make decisions from unconditional love. Unconditional love is something that we recognize the quality because there's an absence of fear. Maybe it can feel fearful to act on what we feel into the unconditional love, but still there are certain qualities that define unconditional love. And what I wanted to do is open up space for real conversations. I don't believe there is a 1, 2, 3 step, ABC step, until to building a life or a business or relationships out of unconditional love. Because, right, Gudrun, I've invited Gudrun here with me for this first. She's the first one who's going to participate in these interviews and in these talks, and building a life from that quality means that it is purely, authentically you who is deciding. There's no more what comes up, what are the expectations from outside, what do we do here, what do we do there. It's really about, okay, but what am I about? What is my purpose? Why am I leading? I don't know exactly what I am saying yes to, but I feel in my core there's something. So you are invited to this conversation. This is really going to be a talk between Gudrun and me. And you are so welcome to be here in this space. If there are questions, if you want to add your experiences or ask us anything, you can do after when you've watched it, and you're so welcome to do that. So I'm now giving the floor to Gudrun, and Gudrun Otten, and she lives on a remarkable place, and I would love for her to tell us, where do you come from, Gudrun, and where are you right now physically, and maybe also a little bit of what are you doing?
First of all, thank you so much, Elisabeth, for inviting me and for having me at your wonderful, just being created table of unconditional love. I feel very honored. And yes, I'm living on the beautiful island of Majorca, actually, for now about 11 years. And physically, I'm in an old monastery, in an old part of monastery. Yes, it's just one part of the garden, the patio, which they closed, and we are living in this beautiful place. So this is very inspiring, and it's a very creative place, a very ancient place, where you can really deeply connect to culture and to any kinds of creative new thoughts and writings and words. So this is mainly what I'm doing here, sitting and perceiving, and it's just pure transformation, being in an old place, creating new thoughts.
So it is a business that you run there, or what? Are you a writer? What are you?
Oh, I think this is a big melange of everything. Actually, I'm only working online due to all these circumstances with Corona. But the years before, I had an offline institute, and I worked as a body worker. And so this is starting as a listener before you can be a storyteller.
Mm.
So
Isn't it just have that? Say that one more time.
before you are becoming a storyteller, you have to become a story listener. And we are telling our stories through everything we do or not do, everything we say or not say, every place we are or not are, every relationship we enter into or not enter into. We are by nature storyteller, and we love listen to stories, and then we love to tell our stories. And they all vary. One story may have millions of perspectives and views. And I love to open all these perspectives for people coming to me. Because every story has just like a trauma or a gap. There are many story gaps. And into these story gaps, a lot of energy is spent. And people are missing this energy in their life because this gap is consuming the energy and not returning it.
Yeah.
And so this is listening to stories, telling the stories, repairing, transforming stories, writing stories. And sometimes I grab the stories out of the air,
Yeah,
and put them on paper.
I just love that. It's
Hmm.
um when I hone in onto the storytelling, and when you tell me, yeah, we have these stories, we actually live our stories, right?
Hmm.
Um, Looking back at what was before you entering this island, entering this choice, even from body worker to story magician. I'm just going to say how I feel it. If that's not
Yes.
right, please correct me. It's just how I feel it right now.
Hmm.
Um, is there a moment in time where you knew this is this is where I want to go, or even had an inkling of ah oh, something is, because almost everyone who I've spoken to, and including myself, has points looking back like, oh, that was the moment I felt called to go there.
Hmm.
I might not have it clear what it was, but something. Can you remember when that was for you?
Well, I think that every story has, let's say, um, how to explain that? You start from 0 to 20, and then you continue from 20 to 40, and then from 40 to 60, and every part of your whole life story has an internal story part and an external story part.
Yeah.
And I would say that I have already been living three parts. The first part was a growing up in my home, in my country, with my family, and living the narrative of my family. Dreaming of a home, a husband, some children, and a beautiful work.
And where was that?
That was in Germany.
Mm-hmm.
We were all body workers, the whole family as
Really?
body workers, yes. my grandfathers, my sister, my mother, my father, and
Wow. A sort Bach of body workers.
yes, yes, it was very curious how everybody entered into this area of working, but I was more in the creative field and couldn't imagine work as a body worker too. And I started my career as a translator and interpreter, and it was English and Spanish, my two languages. But then I felt out of the tribe. Everybody was sitting around the table talking about clients, patients, symptoms, and I was just feeling not to belong. And so this took me three years, and then I realized I want to be a body worker too. I want to sit around that table and have the same conversation like everybody.
And what age were you then?
This was at the age of 20.
Okay, yeah.
And then this was finished at the age of 24. And yeah, this stopped with being pregnant. So my first child was on its way. And then the second phase of my life started being a mother and starting to listen to the needs of my child
Yeah.
and, well, accompanying their growing process. And then this finished too. And then there was a point I think you have been asking for, where I realized that I was not on track. I had lost a lot of energy along the way. I was a woman of 44 then,
Mm-hmm.
still dreaming of that part inside of me that was talking, and I was silencing this part always down, not allowing this part to speak up and to be there and to risk confrontation or discussion or whatever. I was just a silent system worker. And I was repeating an old story and carrying on my shoulders the old story had been unsolved and submitted to my house. I took it and carried it. And then there came the point when everything broke down inside. This was a very fragile moment when a friend of mine, asked me, how are you doing? How is your life? And I was repeating always the same answer. I'm super fine. Everything's perfect. And well, so much looking forward to the next things to happen. 3 children, a beautiful home, a husband, no really problems. But something in me started to grow and to speak up, and it didn't stop. And I felt like being ill. I went to the doctor because my heart was beating different, and I was afraid of getting ill. And
Yeah.
he told me, you are in perfect condition. Your heart is working perfectly.
Oh.
And well, then I started to run 2 hours a day. There was so much energy coming to me and I couldn't process it. So I got up at 4 o'clock in the morning, ran 2 hours, and then came back to my family and started the daily routines. But it took me 6 weeks and I realized I had to stop this. And I took my car and told the guys, sorry, I take 6 weeks off. I don't know where I'm going, but I have to leave.
Wow.
And so 3 children, my husband, they thought it would be kind of a holiday. But I knew there was something bigger going on.
So what made you realize, okay, I can run, I can add on anything, I can do more and more and more. But what made you then sort of, you describe it as if you're being sort of stopped in your tracks, right? Sort of, okay. Was it a sign? Was it just a knowing? And why and why 6 weeks? Because
this is something that cannot be really described in words. There was subconsciously a feeling that there is no other way but only to do this. If you don't follow this, you will get ill. Maybe you die, or something severe will be happening.
Yeah.
I was very conscious about that.
Yeah. And did that, would you say that gave you strength or a decisiveness, or what made you, what discernment was going on that you knew, okay, this is where, because it feels like you were really grounded in that thought, in that not a thought, in that knowing, in a way.
Yeah. I think I started to really deeply connect to my inner self, to my soul, to my heart. Before, it was more like a concept in my mind. And I think I left all the concepts. And that was a moment when the inner walls, they just disappeared. And so the me and the me and the me, they connected. And there was suddenly a power work, returning back to older strengths and to the real strengths and the real energy. And that was the energy of an activator.
Yeah.
I'm so much an activator, and I so much love to connect. And I was stuck. I was stuck in an old system where I had to stay at home, do the cooking, do the cleaning, do everything for the children and the husband.
Yeah.
But I was not that person.
No. Well, you did it for a long time.
Yeah, 20 years.
Yeah. Oh, wow. And then, so you got at that point, I'm going. More as a announcement than a question, right?
Yes.
The way you say it.
Yeah.
Wow.
There was a statement.
Yes.
And my children, they were confused.
They what?
And they were confused.
Yes. Yes.
I remember my younger daughter, she gave me a little box. And in the box, there was a key and a short message. May all the doors open that you want to be open.
Wow. These children of us. Wow.
Yes. Imagine that.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's like being, yeah, I don't know. It's like this fairy, this thing that Cinderella was given before she went out into the world. Yeah. Oh.
But there were so many fears along the way, and I had to give myself the allowance to take the next step, and then the next step, and go really alongside the fears. They were my daily company. Yeah. And I felt it in my heart and in my breathing.
Yeah. Yeah, your breathing when during the whole transition from going, feeling, and knowing, okay, I am going to this other place.
Yes.
Until going there, the whole there was this And how do you felt this breathing pattern change then in fear?
Yes, it was just breathing through the fear. And on the other side, there was new energy.
Exactly. So this is so important what you're telling, because we have all the tools to go through it. So and you did it by breathing through it. Yeah. Yeah, that's how we do it.
Yes, without knowing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's already there. Everything is already there.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Tell me more.
Tell me more. Yes. While I was putting the things in the car, I took some very strange objects with me. And it was a white canvas, 1 meter of 1 meter, and the letters from my grandfather from war. He wrote to my mother. And I took the colors and everything I needed to make collage. And my grandfather, he died in World War II when my mother was 10 years old girl. And this 10-year-old girl has been waiting her whole life long for her father to return from war because she couldn't believe that he simply disappeared. And so I was living with a mother that was actually a 10-year-old girl waiting for her father to come home. And we were just like, yeah, maybe brothers, sisters, her company over this waiting process. And I felt I wanted to put them together. So I took photos from my mother and from my grandfather and the letters. And then at the north coast of Spain, I stopped the car and near the ocean, I started doing this artwork. And then it was finished. And I was very happy. It was just like closing a circle. And that was the ancestral work I did. So they were together. And I could start moving. And I have to say that my mother, she died in that year where I left. So this was just like I had been waiting for this moment. I couldn't move in this space with my mother being alive. I would not have done it.
Yeah.
So this was the link.
Yes.
And I took her wardrobe, I took the blouse and trousers of her. And then I was in the Pyrenees Atlantic. There was a wild river. And I wanted to say goodbye to my mother there. And I put the trouser and the white blouse into this wild river and thought this would be our final goodbye. And then the river started to take the trouser and the blouse. And I was watching them. And then I couldn't let them go. And I started running behind this trouser and the blouse. And I took it again out of the river. And well, I wasn't ready.
Yes.
And so this was a journey for me. I had the impression that I was traveling with a lot of transgenerational topics and transforming her story and the story of her mother and the story of the mother of the mother. And they all were at that river. And so imagine that energy and me alone in this landscape, wild, untamed, and like me. And then the words came. This was just like a flood of words coming to me, and I started to write different. And that, I think this was the beginning of my second, third, or fourth burst. And I was burst into my words. Yes, I'm telling this to you now is just like being there.
Yeah, I can feel it.
Listening to the river and seeing the trouser.
You can
and the
almost
white blouse.
hear and feel the river, right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
so powerful you sharing this, and thank you
Oh.
so
Hmm.
much for that. Yeah, to me this silent listening back, it's almost the most beautiful piece of music for me as well. After a piece has sort of quieted down, just to have a short moment of what just happened there, right?
Yes. This is divinely creating patterns of life and inviting all the elements, the water, the air, the fire, and the earth. And you intertwine your story, the old one, and you just invite the new one. And you feel that the elements are just dancing and they are happy that you share now your true nature with them. This is just, yes.
I have at my home, I live in rural area, it's just fields around me. And then we also have an organic garden, biodynamic organic garden. And that is really, my husband takes care of that, and he does it with so much care and love. And every time, because I do not garden ever, to be true, but I love to be there.
Yes.
I still feel very welcomed. Yeah, but every time when I come there, or even walk here in this nature, it's I've in the years I've started to humble down more and more and more, and then out of that in comes this invite of okay, so you want to be here with us. It's almost like oh, you're not coming here like rah, 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 rah. It's just like, oh, you really want to be here. It's such a different energy.
Yes.
Yeah. Huh.
So nature and a landscape is just like a mirror, and it shows your inner landscape. I know Agnes Varda, she is, I don't know the English word, regisseur. She's had been doing big films, amazing films. And she was saying, if you could open people, you would see landscapes. And if you would open me, you would see the ocean and the beach, with communicating and the one not being able to live without the other.
Can you tell a little bit more about that? About what that then? Because I absolutely, it's a beautiful painting almost. And at the same time, because what I also very much love about your story, because we've been talking before, of course, is that sometimes we have an image, we have a vision, but it can be a not a challenge, but it is a sort of a challenge to bring it into form and to also open up our willingness to let it become what it is, and to realize, we have some. It's not always possible to go from whoop directly from vision until reality, but to have the patience and our willingness to, because there's free will in everything. It's not only our will, it's there's free will in everyone.
Yes.
And and divine love means unconditional love means unconditional love also.
Exactly.
In saying yes to this vision, to this inner knowing. But then how does it becomes a reality? So how
For
did it
me,
become a reality for you?
I think it's just giving up resistance, to be who you are, and you are nature. You are a really divine reflection of nature. You're like the Garden Eden, and you have to know it and to care for it and to own it. So the Garden Eden and you are just like aligned partners interacting and allowing nature to work through you. So this is just like feeling deeply connected, not only with the surface of Earth, but
that last thing I could not hear.
The surface of
The surface,
Earth.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just when you imagine the Earth, there is this frequency, and if we are aligned with our heart, this is similar to the Earth's frequency. And if we align this, what happens when we are in nature, then we calm down and we reconnect, not only to the outer nature, but also to the inner nature. I don't know the word in English. It's just like self-similar landscapes that so much answer your inner world in the outer world. For some people, it's views to the ocean or the mountains or real flat land where you can see super far. And so everybody has this reflection of yourself in the outer world.
Now the virgin in me, who loves a little bit of grounding,
Yes.
wonders then, okay, but how did you end up in Mallorca? You were at that coast, you were doing that, and so sorry. It's just, I really, because I can completely go into these vast images, and then there is a point where there is something that's so, yeah, but we are physical beings, and what can we do to tap into that, and where does the energy go, and how did you end up in Mallorca, and blah blah blah. And it's
Yes.
so, because there's also a lot of And you don't speak about that, but I can feel that there was so much fiery energy going on inside of you as well, which is very interesting to me because you talk about the ocean, but I feel a lot of fire energy as well.
I
Which,
have a lot of fire.
yeah, and that feels like it wants to go, it wants to experience, it wants to and merge with other people and
Yes.
have conversations and
Yes.
build things and
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. This is really my passion.
Yeah, it's almost like, oh, that's the fun part of Gudrun. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, that's where she starts to smile and starts to dance and do funny little
Yes.
things.
Yeah. It was just not visiting and going to the beach in Spain when I was there, but somebody inside had a bigger version of my work and my being. And I did not do shipping in Spain, in Santander. I went to the university, just looking, maybe there is something for me at the university that could be of interest. And entering into the hall, there was a big picture, and they were offering a master degree for business administration, international, in English, Spanish, and German. And I was just, well, they did not mention Gudrun, are you already here? But it was just like a personal invitation for me. And I just asked the guy coming along, who is responsible for this? And he said, it's me. Okay. This was, it was incredible. And I told him, what do I have to do to apply? Well, I have the time now. We can do the work now. I have to do several tests and we have to talk to the director. We start on Monday. It was Friday. I was just on holiday, imagine. And well, I did the language test. And then, well, the other requirement was to have finished a university degree, which as a translator I had, and the language was no problem. So he said, well, we start on Monday. It's your turn. And I was just like, I have 3 kids. I have not really a real structure in my life now. I don't know where to go. Please, I have to think that over.
How old were your kids then?
18,
Yeah.
16, 20. The oldest.
Okay. Yeah.
So, well, it was early, but it was possible.
Yeah.
And so I was really, really thinking, but then I was sure that I cannot do this such fast. And then I went to the university and said, next year I'm in. I have to do some things to organize this really well with my children and everything. And I did this. I separated from my family. I had my own flat. No, when I went back half a year later, I had my own flat. And
yeah, so you knew I have to go, and then you went back and organized it.
Yes, and then I left again.
Yeah.
And I started to study, and I finished studying with poetry and business as my master thesis. And then I was thinking that in management, everybody would be happy to have me, but nobody was happy. A 47-year-old woman wanting to be a CEO in an international company, no way. And so I built my own company which was the cushion company. And it did not went very well. It's just a lot of work to establish this in the market. And then I had some, yeah, personal troubles, let's say, not to go into details.
No.
And my children, they said, why are you not looking for a new partnership? And I was just like,
They mean partnership in relationship.
a new relationship,
Yeah.
yes.
Yes.
And so I went into parship. And there was a cook. And the cook was living in Mallorca. And we felt immediately very welcomed, very warm, very near. It was just like divinely guided meeting your soulmate.
Mm.
And then he invited me to come to Mallorca. And we spent one day. My present, my gift for him was a cushion, and it was scented with my perfume. And it was a secret present. He didn't know it.
Sensual. I love
Yes.
it. Hello, here's my cushion with my perfume.
Yes.
How cool is that?
He did not know the scented part. This was just my secret work. And then I flew back home to Munich, and he went back to his home. And in the evening, in his pocket, he found the scented cushion. And he smelled my perfume. And this was just, it was decided.
Amazing. Listen and learn, ladies.
Yes, it was just
Oh, that's so beautiful.
instinct work.
Yeah.
It was without really thinking. I did what I felt I should do,
Yeah.
and I did it.
Yeah. Not
So
doubting.
many resistance. I did it anyway.
Mm.
Yes, and then, yes, I was just thinking, do I start all over again now in Mallorca? Yes. And I did it.
Mm.
We were searching a house here for me
Mm.
because I did not want to move into his home. I needed my own space, my own place, my own energy. And it was an old pharmacy, beautifully furnished with old wooden and glass furnitures, very traditional. And I love this place. And I have been living there for 6 years, 7 years. And then, well, we moved together.
Yeah. What I saw a beautiful element, what I find in your biography in a way is how you then, okay, you did the body work, but exactly there was this calling for words, for creativity, and how a thing like COVID, which takes away some options, it takes away some, it brings in limitation, and it really reminds me of Goethe's phrase of in der Beschränkung zeigt man die Meister. So das,
Yeah.
I think that's the quote, right? In the limitation, the mastery shows up.
Yes.
So now there's this limitation of, no, I can no longer treat people with my hands. I can no longer, this option to have to come to me to Mallorca, or to live on Mallorca and come to me and have these wonderful treatments, are now gone. And back in comes Gudrun with the words that showed up at that river and at that at that space, who is now guiding women to tell those words, which is, to me, it's by far not the end, because everybody can feel this, right? You there's it's an opening to what is what it will come out of this. um how can, because this is such a beautiful gift, how can people, if they feel drawn to you and to your work, how can they find you? And is there anything that they, do you have something that they can come in contact with you, or how would that work?
I do have my website. It's
Yes.
German because I only work with German clients so far. I'm thinking about switching that next year, but for sure this year will be covered almost for German speaking people.
But do
But
you
I'm
work
able.
one-on-one as well?
Yes, it's almost one on one. I have just started one group program
Yeah.
covering the whole year, but I'm working one on one.
But
Yes.
so, but if non-German, because we're talking English the whole time, right?
Yes.
So if non-German clients would want to um, really connect with their life stories through you, and or you listening to it and helping them see, okay, what energy is still open, that are what is still in those gaps.
Yes.
So could they, do you offer something like a call to just tune in and to have them talk about, because we've talked about that there was something that I really would love to talk about with you.
Yes.
And so I'm looking forward to that, but there's, so that they can connect to you and just say, okay, what is possible, even when I'm
Yes.
not German.
Yes, it's no problem to do this work in English as well. I'm absolutely able to talk about and to listen to an English story
Yeah.
and to fill the gaps. So
So
this is yeah.
could they connect through you to Facebook, or just an email, or well, emails maybe not so good idea to share that, but more than, how can they reach out to you? LinkedIn?
Yes, I'm in LinkedIn
Yeah.
with Go Impulse. We can put this maybe in the comments
Yes, of course we can.
so people can go on my LinkedIn profile.
Yeah.
And I have a Facebook
Of
page.
course. Yes. Yeah.
It's Gudrun Otten.
Yeah.
So there are options to get in contact.
Hmm. So I really, really want to thank you for this. And so we have talked also about, I'm creating this program, right? That's coming in through Divine Sisterhood, and which is all about finding that inner sovereignty, that divine sovereignty, and start to live a life from unconditional love. And well, I've asked you to come and really give us a master class about words, about what is the quality of words, how can they help us move into um, the life that's authentically ours. So, and to open up the magic of that incredible tool. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to that as well.
I'm so much honored.
Yeah.
And I'm so much looking forward to this masterclass. Thank you so much, Elisabeth.
Yeah. Yeah. And thank you. And thank you for watching this. And yeah, Gudrun, thank you.
Thank you all.
Okay.